There was actually very little discussion of terrorism and no discussion of jihad at all, but that which the discussion that did go on focused exclusively upon the possibility of another catastrophic attack in the United States or in Israel, and on what could be done to prevent it. That, of course, is a very important topic for discussion, but it is by no means the only aspect of the problem that faces the United States and Israel and the world today. And yet, the ideological dimensions of this conflict have been almost completely ignored by the international media and by the governments in Western Europe and the United States, as well as in Israel. You cannot possibly defeat an enemy that you do not understand. And you cannot possibly formulate any coherent response to the ideological challenge that that enemy presents without understanding what that ideology is. And yet, for a complex of reasons, of course, that has not been done. Today it is being done. And I am very honored to be able to be a part of it myself. Those who are not here physically can follow along on the internet. The very popular American blogger Pamela Geller, Atlas Shrugs, is live blogging the conference on Twitter. And so you can see it there. Yeah. Our first speaker this morning is one of the driving forces behind this effort. Elected a member of the Knesset in 2003, and a member of the National Union Party, serving on the Knesset's Foreign Affairs and Defense Committee, Labor, Welfare, and Health Committee, and the State Control Committee, the founder and chairman of the Hatikva Party, one of the very few politicians on the international scene who has the courage and the vision to face the problem that we are facing in the world today in its fullness, and to try to construct positive ways to deal with it such that we can survive as a people and a civilization. Brigadier General Professor Aryeh Eldad. Please welcome.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Robert, for the kind introduction. My colleagues from the Ariel Center for Policy Research, Mr. Robert Spencer, our Master of Ceremonies for today, Professor Daniel Pipes, Professor John Lewis, Professor Shlomo Sharan, and Professor David Bukai, our dear guest from the Netherlands, and the head of the delegation, my dear friend, Member of Parliament Geert Wilders, dear guest. It is with great honor and pleasure that I open this Facing Jihad conference in Jerusalem with so many distinguished guests. Only a few weeks ago, the world could learn just another bloody lesson from the Islam in Mumbai, India. The true nature of Islam expressed itself again, as if we needed another lesson after 9/11, after London, Madrid, after Russia, after Baghdad, after the 90 years of bloody struggle against Islam in the land of Israel. The true question that is facing us today is there a moderate Islam? Do we have an option to try to encourage the moderate Muslims in a hope that they will take over the leadership of more than 1 billion people, and not the people who express their belief that they represent the true Islam And the true nature of Islam is what is represented by this global jihad that we fight today. I really believe that there are moderate Muslims, but I believe that Islam kills. I want to explain to you in few sentences why I'm involved in this project. For generations, the citizens of Israel were brainwashed and taught to believe that we have a territorial conflict with the Arabs. A territorial conflict like two nations fighting over a piece of land can be solved by drawing of a sophisticated line, a border on the map between the two nations, and that should bring the end of the conflict. But I am a surgeon, I'm a physician, and I know that if I misdiagnose the disease, the chances that I will be able to prescribe the right medication to it are extremely slim. If I think that my patient suffers from infectious disease and I prescribe him with antibiotics and the patient's got worse, I may change the antibiotics to something else, and then the patient is going to die and I change it to a third antibiotics. When I'll stop and think, maybe I misdiagnosed the disease, maybe it's not infectious disease at all. We tried to share the land of Israel between Jews and Arabs for 90 years, and it always failed. And each failure ended up in a war or a bloodshed. When we will reach the point that we will understand that we misdiagnosed the disease. It's not a territorial conflict between Arab and Israelis here, but a religious war, a cultural clash, a situation where Islam cannot tolerate and will never tolerate any Jewish government in the land of Israel. For them it's a waqf, it's a holy land. Islam cannot accept any infidel rule over what they think is a holy Muslim land. So this is the true nature of Islam. We try to ignore it, we try to lie to ourselves, because these are bad news. Territorial conflict is something that you can solve, land for peace. But if it is not a territorial conflict, a land for peace is not going to cure it. And this is what I'm trying to do today here, and in many other occasions. This is an educational seminar for the people of Israel, and maybe from here to the world, to teach them that the true nature of the conflict cannot be solved by a creation of a Palestinian state. Such an act will only allow Islam to take over another piece of the world on the way to Europe, on the way to other parts of the world.
Which one?
In this morning and the early afternoon, we are going to hear a couple of important lectures and distinguished guests that made a long way to come and join us this morning.
What's their music name?
Professor John Lewis will be the first, and he'll speak about the defeat of Islamic totalitarianism. It's impossible words for me. Totalitarianism.
There are 20 states and Palestinian states. And by the way,
Dr. David Bukai from Israel will speak about jihad and the dawah, what the West must know of the Islamic strategy. Our dear friend Itamar Marcus from Palestinian Media Watch will show us